Office scripts are a fantastic tool built right into Excel to help us automate tasks. And the good news is that while there are many advanced use cases, we don't need to be advanced to start getting the benefit from Office scripts. So we're going to start a short video series over the next few weeks to get you up and running with Office scripts. So if you're ready, let's get started. Office scripts live in the Automate tab of Excel's ribbon. Now, if you don't have the Automate tab, it means that either you don't have a compatible license, and I'll add a link below to the list of compatible licenses, or it means your IT admin has turned off Office scripts, in which case you can ask them to turn them back on. Here we have a button that enables us to create new scripts. We can either do this through writing the code ourselves or by recording actions. Next to that is the button that enables us to view and find our existing scripts, and we also have a gallery of our most recently used scripts. For this video, we're going to build all of our scripts from scratch. So I'll go to New Script and then click Create in Code Editor. This now opens a pane on the right, and I'm going to expand this pane so we have more space to write our code. In this window, we can currently see an example script. If we go back to the next level, we can see all of our scripts. So let's go back into that script that we just created, and I'll click Edit, and that brings us back to this example code. Because this is an example, we don't need any of the code between the opening curly bracket and the closing curly bracket. So I'll select that and then press Delete. We're now ready to start building our first example script. Office scripts are constructed of two elements. We have the Office Scripts API, which is also known as the Document Object Model, and we also have a reduced down version of the TypeScript programming language, which is itself a derivative of the JavaScript language. In this video, we're only looking at one part, and that is the Document Object Model. We'll look at the other parts in future videos. In simple terms, the Document Object Model is a map of where we can find everything in Excel. For example, workbooks contain sheets, sheets contain cells, and cells contain values. Therefore, if we wanted to change the value of a specific cell, we would need to start at the workbook, then navigate to the specific worksheet, then navigate to the specific cell. And after that, we could change the value. And that's what we're going to do now. I'm going to start typing workbook. As I do, the IntelliSense pops up, and you can see workbook is an option in that list. I'll press Tab to accept that item. I'll then enter a period. That then gives us the list of all of the options that we can have after the word workbook. Now this is a long list. We want to get our worksheet. So I'll start typing worksheet. As you can see, that list reduces down, and we have add worksheet, get worksheets, get last worksheet, get first worksheet, and get active worksheet. For our example, we want to get the active worksheet. This is a method. That means that we need to include brackets. So I'll press Tab to accept Get Active Worksheet. The A and W are uppercase letters, and this is important because Office scripts are case sensitive. And I'll enter an opening bracket. Here we have the documentation about Get Active Worksheet. There is nothing included within these brackets. Therefore, we don't need to include anything in our brackets either. Get Active Worksheet doesn't need any additional values. I'll enter a period at the end, and let's search for range. Here we have getRange. That is the value that we want. I'll press Tab to accept that, and then enter an opening bracket. This time we can see that getRange requires a string as the address. We want to use cell B1. After that, we want to change the value of this cell. So I'll search for value, and we now have the options. In there, we have setValue. I will select that. Then we want to enter an opening bracket, and as you can see, we then provide the value that we want to insert into that cell. We're going to enter the text value of insert title. At the end of the row, I'll enter a semicolon. Though if we don't enter that, it doesn't cause an error, though it is common when working with the JavaScript language. I'll now click Run, and as you can see, it now says Insert Title in cell B1. And there we have used the document object model. Now, the document object model isn't just for worksheets or ranges or cell values. It can access lots of Excel's objects, such as pivot tables, charts, styles, data validation, and much, much more. So understanding the document object model is critical to automating Excel with Office scripts. So let's go and take a look at a useful method for finding out elements which are in the document object model. Let's suggest that in this script, we also want to change the width of the first column. Now we could use the document object model again. We could start at workbook and then go to the active worksheet and then work through until we get the column width. But sometimes we don't know where those properties are within the document object model. In those scenarios, we can insert actions. At the bottom, we have the Insert Action button. I will select that, and it's now waiting for us to perform an action. Let's change the column width of column A. When we release that, you can see that we now have the action of setting the width of column A. When I click Insert, it's now going to add that specific code into my script. I should mention that the action recorder doesn't capture everything. Sometimes it tells us that it can't record an action. Therefore, there are times when we will need to work down the document object model and use IntelliSense so that we can get the correct code. Here, the recorded code creates a variable called selectedSheet, which is based on the workbook and then the getActiveWorksheet, and that element is called selectedSheet. It then uses that selectedSheet to get the range of column A. It then gets the format of that column, and then finally it sets the column width of that column. You can also see that it has added a comment to tell us what's happening in this code. Now we can reduce this code down. Let's remove any reference to selected sheet. And where we have selected sheet, we can then remove that so that we start with workbook. I'm going to remove the value from B1. I'll change the width of column A, and now let's run our script. Fantastic, it now says Insert Title in cell B1, and we also have a set column width. I'm going to change this to 9 so that it is a whole number. At the moment in our document object model, we're always starting at the top, which is our workbook. When we recorded code, it created something called selected sheet, and this would refer to the active worksheet. Let's create a variable ourselves. I'll use let to declare the variable, and we're going to call it ws for worksheet. And that is going to be equal to our workbook and then our get active worksheet. Now, rather than referencing workbook and get active worksheet, we can refer to ws, which makes our code shorter and easier to read. I'm now going to add the additional code for our script. All this script will do is format our worksheet in a predefined format. The code is not complex, the example isn't complex, but it's there to demonstrate how we use the document object model. As you can see, all of this code follows a similar pattern. We have the worksheet, we get the range of row 1, we get the format, and then we set the height. Next, we have the range of columns from B to Z. We get the format, and then we set the width of those columns. All of our code follows a similar pattern. It all uses the document object model. Now, there are some special properties which apply to certain methods. For example, if I go ws.getRange, the range we want to get is cell B1, and then we want to get the format. From that format, we want to set the vertical alignment. We've got set vertical alignment. I'll enter an opening bracket, and in there you can see that we have vertical alignment is based on ExcelScript.Vertical Alignment. Anytime we see Excel script, that's what we need to enter. ExcelScript.Vertical Alignment, and when we press dot one more time, it then shows the available options. In this scenario, we want to use center. I'll press tab to accept that. That now completes our script. Let's give our script a meaningful name. I'm going to call it Format Sheet Example. Rather than this short introduction, we have a full Office Scripts course available inside our Excel Academy. So if you really want to understand how Office Scripts work, how you can automate Excel and build self-running processes, head on over to excelforgrid.com/office-scripts to find out more. We're now ready to click Run and find out what this script does. I'll click the button, and as you can see, that now formats our sheet. Now, the great thing about Office Scripts is that they are saved as separate files outside of the workbook. By default, they're saved in your OneDrive folder, but they can also be saved on SharePoint, which means if you open up any workbook on PC or Mac or Excel Online, your script is there just waiting to be run. You can either view the script and then click the Run button, or from the gallery, you can right-click on the script and then select Run. And that concludes part 1 of this video series about Office Scripts. We've looked at the document object model, and we've seen that we can use it to change the objects inside an Excel workbook. In the next part, we'll go one step further and start introducing TypeScript as the language which wraps around the document object model to provide the syntax for logic and loops. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.